Okay, so we were down in San Hallow last weekend, did some riding. It was a family kind of a camping trip, but it's kind of a unique area to do. You can do rock crawling, you can do dunes, you can do trail riding. Like it's a lot of desert. It's all desert, but kind of a fun ride and to really try the different machines. Yeah, the different stuff. So we took the Turbo S and the Maverick X3, and then we took a Yamaha YXE, and then there were a bunch of other razors, 4-seat razors down there too. So yeah, we found a pretty cool whoop section on the side of the road, which was cool because we could chase it. We chase the vehicles, you know, and see them, kind of see the heads bobbing in the vehicles as a indication of how rough or smooth they were. And then we did a little bit of trail riding also. So, and all four of us, including the cameraman here, got to drive the different machines and kind of get a little more perspective on the Turbo S versus the other machines, and is it kind of as cool as everybody, you know, thinking it is, or the hype or whatever. Okay, well, why are you bobbing your head up now? Why do you think you preferred the Turbo S greatly specifically over the Maverick?
I was just going to ask, are we supposed to be neutral here, or can we start
Go
gushing?
for it.
Can we start gushing about one over the other?
Why did you guys love or hate or like or dislike or whatever?
Well, I've ridden and driven in the original 1000 and the 1000 Turbo, and now the Turbo S, and the suspension upgrade from the 1000 to the Turbo 1000 was awesome.
So from the Walker Evans to the Fox shocks.
Yeah, was awesome. And I didn't really think it could get much better until I rode in the Turbo S and I mean, you can't even explain how amazing.
So specifically, we went on a trail ride one day, and we took both machines. She and I did, and we swapped halfway through the day. And so she drove
I drove this out and the Maverick back, and this was smooth, and you didn't notice the little chop in the trail. But then when I drove the Maverick back, by the time we got back to camp, my back and my neck were super sore. Part of it is because the seating position, I felt like I had to hold myself forward in the Maverick, but then also it doesn't absorb the little bumps the same as this suspension does, and so it was just bouncing me all around.
Well, and just like when you were doing the whoops section right on the side of the road, it looked like this just kind of absorbed those bumps, you know, the whoops, and you were just flying through those. Where that kind of looked like it was worked a little bit more. You were kind of more up and down and trying to hold yourself in more.
Inside the car, in fact, I had to readjust my helmet a couple times in this. Like it was, I felt like this one in the whoop specifically, the Maverick was bouncing me, my body in the machine more. I did feel like it was a little more stable side to side in the Maverick going through the whoops. Like this one felt a little more squirrely. It wanted to you know, be a little more squirrely, and this just felt, it was nice and straight through it, but it was a lot bouncier. And these weren't huge whoops. These were probably a couple of feet at the most. Like it was a fairly small trail. There's definitely bigger whoops, and I hate whoops. And I think the Maverick does a great job with it, but the shocks, dynamic shocks, and I don't know if they perform the same on the non-Turbo S models that you can get the dynamics with, the regular 64-inch wide models, because I've heard that they've actually changed them a little bit from just the regular Turbo to the Turbo S. But they're so good. They're so good. The shocks on this thing work. The technology, I mean, hopefully it holds up as well as I expect it to.
Yeah.
Because the technology, it just works so good. It almost overshadows all the other things that I prefer about the Maverick over the razors, because there's, you know, you get your seating position and visibility, and there's a bunch of different things between the two that are kind of, I would say, more personal preference one way or the other. They're both amazing machines, no question, They're both
Yeah.
amazing machines, and they both did great rock crawling. This thing even did great rock crawling. It doesn't have the good diffs for it, and it still did fine. You just got to carry a little more speed and whatever. But
So speaking along the lines of the diff, that's one thing, like us guys that have the older razors, and like you hear people complaining a lot about, you know, the vibration, the noise in the
Four-wheel
front
and all-wheel
disc,
drive.
four-wheel drive, and it's just,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that like several
Nothing.
people complain about. Yeah, like this
Yeah.
thing, it feels solid, like four-wheel drive
Yep.
in the sand, like there's no vibration, there's no
It's
noise.
nothing.
no.
Yeah.
You almost can't tell it's
squeaking,
in.
Well,
like the
even-
shocks are smooth, like
It's
there's
true.
just
Yeah.
no.
Even in the turbo, they upgraded something, and it was minimized in the turbo.
Better, yeah.
But yeah, this
But
you
this
don't
one-
even notice anything.
No, and I've heard that I think the whole front diff is different than it is on the other ones. It's like massively upgraded, and the whole rest of the driveline is great. Yeah, you couldn't
Yeah.
tell it was in four-wheel drive other than feeling
Yeah.
it pull you along. But we did actually a couple obstacles in this thing. Dude, rock crawling. I mean, we didn't do, I guess, super gnarly stuff, but we did some things that I thought for sure we'd drag something or scrape or maybe tip on the side or something a little bit, but nothing.
Just walk right up.
Oh my gosh. I think this thing, for rock crawling, especially, if you lean a little more towards that side of things, I between the visibility, the ground clearance, the 32-inch tires straight from the factory, it's clutched that way, like, this one's going to be really hard to beat. The steering is very
Plus,
light.
you can add a camera in the front.
You can add a camera
that
in the
just
front, it's got the
makes
rear camera. I mean,
Spotting so much better.
for rock crawling, this one's going to be hard to beat. I really think so.
And that was one thing you mentioned, the steering. In the X3, I didn't like, you get pinned up against a rock and it was hard
Yeah.
to like straighten
Yeah.
the wheel. You couldn't turn it to kind of get your
Yeah.
wheel, you know. And this
I-
thing, like just the power steering, it's like you can move that
Yeah.
wheel
It
and
doesn't
it
matter.
just doesn't get hung
Yeah.
up
I feel
on.
like in general, you spend a lot more time working the wheel in the Maverick than you did.
You feel a
in
lot
the
more.
Razor.
I feel a lot more input when when the Maverick's in four-wheel drive. When you get under throttle, like the steering goes from nice and light to really stiff, and you have to work really hard on it. And I don't like feeling that much change from under throttle to off the throttle. And I think the steering's better in the Razor. I prefer it in the Razor. So we swapped a bucket seat out just from one of our, it's a PRP. It's the cheapest one you can get, but you can get it in like any color and fabric combination you want, and they're I love them. So I've just swapped them from machine to machine because I like the seat. The Razor seats are still, I feel like you're sitting on a really short bench that is really flexible. You don't feel like you're planted in a good seat. And just switching the seat out on this for me was a huge improvement. I like the harnesses. I actually really like the harnesses. I think everything good. And I like the seating position in this better. I like the visibility.
Your visibility again, like
It
you're
does.
sitting lower and like with the long nose, it's kind of hard,
Especially rock crawling. 'Cause you-
For like desert trails and that kind of riding, the Maverick's awesome.
It's amazing. And
I mean, it's an amazing machine, no doubt
Totally.
about it. But like going up over dunes and stuff, you just don't have the visibility to like see what's coming on that other side.
So I think I almost prefer the throttle response and the stability of the Maverick. I don't know, there's something about it. I felt a little more stable in the Maverick when we were ripping around dunes, and when I do kind of sketchy stuff like transitions over crests or whatever. I feel a little more confident in the Maverick with that. I think just sitting down lower, and even though they're the same
with
width,
all
it feels
the-
wider or something.
All the clearance and all the travel that you still have in the Maverick, and the height. I mean, you can see there's like a foot.
There's
There's a foot difference in
There's a major
the
height
height
difference.
between the two machines, and overall, and the seating position, even like you said, is way down low.
And
it
I think that
does. It
extra
makes you feel
foot or
super
so,
stable.
and I think that extra foot or so of wheelbase makes a big difference in the stability and how it feels when you're going really,
Not
really
quite
fast.
as squirrely.
But I think for me, if the riding style leans a little more towards trail riding and rock crawling kind of stuff. I think the RZR is the machine probably that I prefer. But I think if you're doing a little more speed, like really high speed stuff, the stability, the extra length, and sitting down lower and stuff, it really inspires a lot of confidence. But the shocks, the dynamic shocks on this thing are so good that it's seriously, it overshadows everything else for me. Like, they were just so effective. We never bottomed. You go up jumps and like you hit that stuff, you know, you're cruising down the trail and there's a little G out or a bump or something, those oh shit moments, you know, you're like, oh, this is gonna hurt, and you hit them and it takes it. And in all the other machines, you hit those and you feel it. You know, It's like, oh, that was bottomed out on that one or whatever. The shocks are just so good on this. And all the other stuff is just kind of like personal preference. It's not really a big deal, I don't think, one or the other. But yeah, I really like this machine, and I love Maverick. So.
Yeah.
He's gonna beach it like you did.
Huh?
Said he's gonna beach it. Guess that's why they're skid plates, right?
Not on that one, but yeah.
Oh.
That mud flap. Turn right. Hey, that's power steering, man. Jeez. Hang on. You might have to back up a little bit. You're gonna try that. Yeah, we're gonna switch your flank. Good. Ah.
need that momentum and just kind of plop off.
They're not exactly trail machines. Oops, sorry. It's like with their power steering, like even when it's locked on a rock, like it doesn't want to like turn. You know, it's hard. Just don't have to back up. We just got this push. Yeah. No, it's all right. Watch out, because if I lawn dart, I'm going to have to flip it to come out of it. You're good. That's exhilarating. Size down. Alright, well, that was freaking fun. First real test of the Turbo S in its rock crawling mode, at least to, you know, our level of skills, which is, you know, somewhere between here and here. But that was a fun little trail. What was the name of the trail? Do you remember? Sand Hollow, something. So definitely, I would say the best machine for my money at this point is definitely the... I love this razor.